call meeting to order. Board, roll call, please.
Recording in progress.
Graig.
Here.
Maggie. Here. Rosemary.
Here,
And Rosa. And Max.
mission is to anticipate and provide services to meet the healthcare needs of the people we serve.
Thank you, Rosemary. Welcome, everybody. We have a consent agenda, 2 items, the regular meeting, minutes of the regular meeting of the 24th and the finance committee meeting of the 13th. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes as presented? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented for the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, roll call, please.
Graig.
Yes.
Maggie.
Yes.
Rosemary.
Here, yes.
And Max.
Yes. Okay, public comment.
Hello, Wes White, Salinas Monterey County Homeless Union co-president, and John Doe 13K, which is on YouTube. Thank you so much for making Zoom available and consistent. I guess the only other thing I'd ask for a Zoom participation would be being able to dial in or Zoom in, for public participation. Just great. I mean, honestly, you folks have been doing great the last, whatever. I've been here almost 2 years now, I'm pleased and impressed. I think we've done a lot of collaborative effort and made a lot of progress. Financially for one thing, and just the group dynamics that I think are improving. So I'm happy, how things are going, and most of it is available on Zoom. That was my goal when I first showed up, and pleased that you're taking this route. I still haven't heard an exact reasoning, but looking forward to continuing, being able to see you on Zoom, and now I don't think I'll ever have to come by, so it's kind of like goodbye.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. White. Communication coordinator, Trebino.
Hello, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving ahead of time. As you all saw my report, it is on page 7. You will see that I made the front cover along with my coworkers. We celebrated Halloween at the facility, and I don't know how many of you have seen or heard of Inside Out. So we were the Inside Out characters in the office, so I just wanted to share that with you. And then I have several flyers here for your information, so you can save the dates and know what's going on at the district. One of them is our Photos with Santa, which is on December 6th. The community is invited to attend from 4 to 6. And then we will also have a morning session for our residents, exclusively for our residents and their families. That will be from 10 to noon. And our wonderful volunteer Santa is actually here with us. It's Mr. Stephens. So we've been also approached by the Pinnacle School next door to see if they can bring in 20 students to take their pictures with Santa. So we are trying to accommodate that request as well. Following, we have on November 30th, we have a flu vaccine, and that has been advertised on social media as well as in the clinics. And then we also have the end of year celebration, which I hope you all can save the date and try your best to attend. It is on Friday, December 20th from 3 to 6. And it really brings a lot of joy to our employees to see our board members celebrate with us the end of the year. So please, if you can, let Sophie or I know if you plan to attend, and we would love to have you.
It was wonderful last year, I wanted to say.
Thank you. And we also celebrated our wonderful Debbie Ramirez's retirement party on last Friday, on November 15th. Just wanted to let you all know she will be retiring on December after almost 19 years of service, or 19 years of service. Following, you will see the wonderful costumes that our facility showed, and also our children that were invited to trick or treat, and also enjoy the costume party that we had. Clinic took all of the best dressed awards for Halloween, but Eden Valley took the group, the department, so they had a pizza party. And then you will see that I am posing with pumpkins with a member of the Soledad Alliance, who was gracious enough to donate the pumpkins that you, for those of you that saw the pumpkins in the atrium, they were decorated by some of our departments. So it was after Halloween, but our staff were able to enjoy that. And then you will see the last picture. It's a very nice moment that we had the Monterey Pops like symphony here for our residents, and you can see the residents being gathered and enjoying the music.
So did they contact you? How did that happen?
They normally contact the activities department.
Okay.
Yeah, they coordinate with them.
Yeah, it's real special.
I just want to note, since you brought that up, it was a really nice thank you note that you sent to them, Graig, and to the Pops and to Rosemary, who's been singing here at Eden Valley forever. And to acknowledge them with a thank you note is a really positive thing, and I hope we continue to do that. It's when people volunteer their time here, it needs to be acknowledged, and I thank you for doing that.
Of course. And for those of you that don't know, Rosemary actually has an Eden Valley song that I've been trying to get her to record, so hopefully she'll get me.
It really is. Oh, wow.
And to turn everybody's attention, if I may, in your packet, at the back, the last page is our December calendar of performances. For those of you that want to see Rosemary perform, she will be here on Friday, December the 6th. We also have a young man, Logan Thornton, a local young man here who went to high school, grew up here. He's also one of the performers. He will be here December 13th. So please come and see that. And then we also have a performance by our very own Celestina Ripley. And I do want to appreciate and acknowledge Anne for making that connection for us. She was out in the community, talked to Celestina. She brought her in. We had a meeting with activities. And as a result of that, she will now be performing single on December 21st. So if you want to come and see her sing, she has a beautiful voice. For those that don't know much about her, her voice is very angelic and beautiful. But take a look at your calendar and any of these events, come online, participate.
Is she going to bring in her students also?
I think they're working on that, but at this moment, she's committed to come on her own. And then she also donated all the pumpkins. She brought a whole lot of pumpkins to donate as well. So lots of wonderful, wonderful things happening.
It's really nice.
Yeah.
Will she be here once a month?
That's what her plan
That's her
is.
goal?
Yeah, and have other activities like Ann says, bring in, she has a theater group of students that she wants to bring in. She's a very talented learner. She's even talked about maybe potentially doing some field trips to the farm or bringing in animals. There's just a lot of things. She's just so creative.
She is very good.
Yeah. And thank you for pointing out the activities calendar. As you may or may not know, when we do have volunteers, so we depend on their time. Sometimes they commit, but sometimes things happen. So I have made the activities calendar available on the website under activities. If anything changes, I work with the activities director, and she will let me know, and I will update it. So just so you know, we will try our best to make sure that at least online it's very up to date.
This stuff is good to put on Instagram pages too. You know, it really is nice to show some of the things that the residents are participating in.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Okay, and also I want to call your attention to the red envelope that is on your desk in front of you. You will see that it's very sealed, so It is the gift of light for the foundation. That actually,
And you thought you were going to escape.
no, Brent always donates, thank you. So that actually is a letter we are sending out to our community members to help us out and fundraise for our beds. We continuously like to make sure that our residents are resting comfortably, and their mattresses get changed on like a bi-yearly basis. So we will constantly be needing new mattresses, new beds to make sure that our residents are comfortable. And also, you know, we are able to notice when our bed or mattress is getting old. So we want to make sure that our residents don't ever have to go through that.
Is this the tree?
Yes.
That's good. You know, people stop by just to see.
He's great.
Yes.
And Grace always had to be first on the tree. Nobody could have Grace Silliman.
Oh, yeah.
For years, she was always first on the tree, so I wonder who's first on the tree now.
Well,
Rosemary Guidotti.
well, you are the first ones to receive it. That's why you're getting them. I actually
I
called
forgot
them
my
this
checkbook.
morning. Uh-oh. So you won't be first, maybe. Maybe you can. Okay, so I would appreciate it if you can all take it, make a donation, and if you're unable to make a donation, if you can give it to someone else who you know may be able to make that donation for our residents.
This is a nice local.
Yes, it is local, and unlike our general MC Gives that is throughout the entire county, this is especially for our Eden Valley
And
residents.
you can give any amount, right?
Yeah,
You can give $1, you can give $1,000.
Yeah, we have people donating $5, $20, any amount is
Not a
well
dollar.
appreciated. Any amount is well appreciated. And our MC Gives campaign has currently raised $1,100. So for those of you that remember, our MC Gives campaign is for the mobile unit, and it's just to make sure that we have something for the future. And then I forgot to tell you all, but this is actually a frame that I ordered to make sure that everybody who comes to our Photos with Santa will be taking a printed photo with a frame home. So it serves as advertising, but it also serves as community service because it has all of our district logos and our district logo as well. So people get to know the district as a whole, not just Eden Valley or not just the clinic. Any questions?
Can I just brag on what you took some group to the Historical Society.
Oh, yes, go ahead.
This is the second time we've met, about 5 years ago, when we had the World War II display at Mr. Rubo, who's no longer with us. He and another person came down, brought down by the activities director. Mr. Rubo was a World War II vet. His brother Indo was a World War II vet. See, Indo was a custodian at the high school. I knew him real well. He asked if we had a picture of Indo, because we didn't have a picture of him at the time. And when he saw his picture up, he cried. It was a really moving moment. This last time we had the dress display, as some of you know about, and two of the ladies came through and they enjoyed themselves. So I'm hoping we can be a little more consistent in providing we call ourselves the Historical Society, and be a little more consistent in providing this service to our seniors.
But they can only bring 2 at a time, is that it?
It's not, it just is availability, transportation, how they're feeling that day, so a lot of variables.
And I think Graig has to be commended because I was talking to someone and they happened to be coming through town and they wanted to see it, they wanted to show their friends, and Graig will go down anytime and open it for you. So that's very, very great of you to do that, to just open it. Like I said, you did it for those 2 ladies too, and that's great.
Well, I have to report to the boss. That's the other caveat. The wife.
The other thing is, it's the local newspaper We want to make sure we get a lot of this good stuff in the paper.
Oh, I want to tell you something, and I know Greg, you're one of them. Some people don't want to use a newspaper because it costs money, but let me tell you something, and not that many people read it, but the people who read it are the ones who are interested, and they'll comply, and they'll
Respond.
respond.
But sometimes if you approach the paper and say, I've got some current events,
Yes, so
then you don't
I,
have to pay.
Yeah,
But
right.
at least
Right.
you're getting the visibility out there. And if they don't pick up the paper, they're looking at it online.
Yeah.
But I would approach it as a current event.
yes, so I do send out the press releases, and I am happy to report that we have more than doubled, I think by like 300%,
Oh, really?
our appearance in the paper. You can
Okay,
see,
good.
you can
Good.
see, you can go
Good.
online and see, make sure. Last year, there was only one event that was highlighted. This year, we have over like 5 events that
Oh,
have been
great.
highlighted, so.
That's great, yeah.
So I cannot control what they
Right.
pick up,
Right.
but I do my job and send them the press release,
Mhm.
and hopefully they are pretty good about putting it. It's just whatever, they prefer timely news
Yeah.
other than feel-good stories.
So I have to commend Adriana. She has completed 1 year of service here at the district. And I have to acknowledge what she's talking about. She has really gotten the word out of who we are, what we do, and why we do it. And so hats off to her, and thank you for, and I shared this with her when I gave her her 1 year certificate, is getting folks to know who we are and what we do. And that's not an easy task, and she's been able to do that. So thank you for all that you've done in this last year being on our district.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Adriana.
Thank you, thank you.
Congratulations on your 1 year.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
If no more questions, we'll go on to the treasurer's report.
Okay. Maybe someday I can go before her. So that you can be uplifted afterwards. So it's not terrible news, but it's not great news either. So we had, for the month of October, we experienced a loss of about 129,000. Now remember that this, as of August 1st, we are no longer involved in the PPS settlement payment. And so that's being deducted from our revenues as we move forward. And so, had we still been participating in the PPS settlement, we would have shown a $50,000 profit for the month. So, it is all going to equal out at the end, but this is more of a symptom of the decreased census than anything else.
We talked about getting less money for the Medi-Cal. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's at $78.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to take us a while to adjust to that.
Well, remember, we had that extra 175, and it's a total of like $1.2 million in 1 year. So now you've just, the 175 is gone, and so, yeah, it's not gonna happen overnight. And so we made that decision, right, to do that. So if you see that number will be in that, but it's not because we didn't do it, we did it strategically. It's not because it's because we did it
It's
strategically.
the clinic.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, Eden Valley is down as well. Our census has been down. It's climbing, or it's better in the month of November is what I've heard than it has been. But it's still a lot lower than it was last year at this point. So when we start comparing numbers from this year to last year, you'll see a drop, and it's primarily in Medicare revenues. Okay? So on page 10, our total assets are $11,250,000, of which $5,800,000 is current, meaning that should be expected to be received. Either we have it already on hand, such as our bank accounts, or the receivables, it's within a year that those receivables should be received. Okay? But once again, one of the ratios that the banks look at, lenders look at, is your current ratio, which is your current liabilities and your current assets less your current liabilities. And they like it to be 1.5, 1.5 to 1, which in this case would be 5.8 to what would that be? Like 3 350,000 or something, but our current liabilities is 5.5, so we're barely at 1-to-1. Our current assets over our current liabilities. So there's a little concern there, but it's been that way now for a while. And hopefully as we reduce the debt and we increase our census, things will pick up. Down at the bottom, you'll see our number of days on cash on hand. It's at 65. Once again though, we have 2.8 million in the bank, but we have a payment that's coming due here shortly of $1.2 million. So, we're gonna say goodbye to $1.2 million, that's really quickly. Okay, on page 11 is the net profit or net revenue, excess revenues over expenditures. So go down to the middle of the page where it says operating income before depreciation. That's what you want to be at least break even. So we're still at that level, 23,000. We're still positive compared to last year at this point. We were at 1.2 million. Okay, now that 1.2 million doesn't reflect any of the TPS settlement, for the 4 months, which would have been about 750,000. So subtract that, and then you can kind of compare apples to apples. But then our depreciation reduces it, and then our interest over our grants. And so our bottom line is a loss of 159,743, which is about that 2/3 of the way paid on the way down. And then you can see by operation, Eden Valley, 591 in revenues, net revenues, but it was 931 at this point last year. And we're going to see that 339,000, we're going to see a drop in Medicare revenues of about that amount. Clinic and Women's Health Center, it's a drop of 502,000 for the first 4 months. And then the district has also increased in expenditures because we moved part of the expenses out of Eden Valley for some of the administrative salaries into the district. So let's go on to some of the detail on page 12. We have our cash balances. The majority of our cash is sitting in First Capital Bank. Those include the CDs. It includes our savings account. It includes a checking account. Mechanics Bank is just our normal checking accounts. It also has a small savings account of about $80,000. The receivables, we are at Eden Valley is at 2.2 million. I was hoping to start to see a reduction in that. Didn't happen in the month of October, so hopefully it will start in November. But we'll check on that as well. The clinic is 284 as compared to 488 the year before, and that's just a reflection of our decrease in total revenues. Okay. You can see a summary of income by month. So July was a good month. August was not so good. September looked like we were trending back in the right direction, and then October, because of census, we took another dip. Okay?
A question before you
Yep.
turn the page. On the accounts receivable for Eden Valley at 2.2 million, how many of those are 30, 60, and 90 days?
I've got that right here. I bring that because you're going to ask me it. So current is 706,000. These are just rounded. 30 days is 277. 60 days is 149. 90 days is 147. And then we have 120 and over, it would be the balance of about 350 or so. Those,
350?
whatever the difference is, I'm
Okay.
trying to add that up to, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
about three.
anything over 120 days, it's 350,000.
Yeah.
Of that 350,000, what are we doing to try to collect it?
So that, I work with the biller, and so her and her team, that's what they,
Are working on?
yeah.
That might be a good report. If this number doesn't drop, it might be a good report to see, to show the board how after 120 days that 350 drops, so that you can see that
That we're making
the
progress.
trend, see where
Yeah.
we're going with that.
Okay, I can
Because-
add that.
Yeah, only because it's such a large amount of accounts receivable, and that's where, you know, the cash flow is. And at 30 days is 706,000, but anything after 30 days, you know, you're looking at over $1 million, and that's where you wanna hit them hard.
Yeah.
You know, tell you owe us.
So you also,
Is
you also got to keep in mind the type of insurances that we work with.
Oh, I know.
So that all has a lot to do with collection. And the
But
timing of
anything
it.
120 days, that's 4 months. They owe us. And, you know, it's, if we don't pay, they charge us, you know? So it behooves us to go out and put out.
Okay, any more questions on that?
Okay, so, moving on to page 13, then you have your Eden Valley. And you can see on this, on the second line down, you know, our Medi-Cal on the top line, we're down 235,000. But Medicare, you know, I told you we were gonna see a drop of over 300,000, it's 434,000 for the first 4 months.
That's for 1 month.
That's for 4 months.
4 months.
4 months. Okay? But our total revenues are down 473, Medicare is down 434, I mean, it accounts for the majority of it. Okay? Then you can look at our expenses are down, which means we're, you know, attempting to control our expenses in light of the decreased census. But there are some that you just can't cut. I mean, the lights are on.
Yeah.
So,
The nursing administration's a good cut.
it is a good cut. Last year was just, I mean, we were lucky last year that our census was up and we were able to absorb those high
Yeah.
nursing fees, but yes, okay. You'll notice that, once again, the general administration is down, but once again, that's the same thing that I was talking about, the district expenditures, that's moving some of the administrative salaries out of Eden Valley and into the district, is the main reason why that one is down, okay? And then down below, you can see in total where all the increases or decreases are by category, and once again, the main decrease is in professional fees, which was the nursing. Okay. On page 14, we have the clinic and the district. So our revenues for the clinic, the month of October was the best month we've had this year for the clinic, which is encouraging. But we're still, you know, 705,000 net after contractual adjustments below last year.
And if I may add, on the clinic, there's 2 items to take into consideration. So a lot of the insurance agencies are going back and doing revalidations or recoupment, looking at the invoicing. So we did have one for CCAH, and so they recouped a total of $70,000. And this is based on 2 things. One is that the provider was set up incorrectly. They've now fixed that. And secondly, was that there is a program called ACE, and the provider was eligible, but then didn't renew it on time, and so there was a recoupment for that. They did an audit, and that put us through, was it July, I believe, or something? It took us through early part of this year. But just know that. So that's a withdrawal, and that's reflected here. Secondly is we have to revalidate our Medicare data. So part of the process is to revalidate our Medicare data, who's here, who's leading the organizations, and so forth. And that's a process. We used to have a project manager who supported with that. We no longer have that support, so that does fall back onto me to complete it. We completed the process, but as a result, we are owed back for that dating back to July. So Brent, you will start seeing those numbers. I just checked with the team today. They're already starting to feed through.
Okay.
So between now and the end of the year, you'll see a good amount of dollars coming back as a result of that. Okay.
Good. Okay.
On the validation of the provider, was that a provider misstep or was that our doing?
So it's a couple of things. It's called credentialing, is what you have to do. So it sounds like it's a billing component, but it really is. It's a recertification with that agency stating that these providers are ones that we allow for them to charge against insurance. And you have to do that on a
So
regular.
were they not certified?
They were, except that they were put under as a specialty rather than a PCP. And there's a difference in pricing for each
Yeah.
type.
So you'll notice in the expenses for the clinic, they're down as well. Salaries are down, professional fees are down. In total, we're down about 203,000. So we're making an effort to try to break even on that. We're at 151,000 in the hole before administrative expenses are attributed to that. And then down below, this was new last month, and I've continued to add it. These are our district expenditures. And so you can see, the increases and decreases there. Once again, the salaries, that's because we moved those salaries out of Eden Valley and moved them into here. Okay?
I have a question, actually, I know you told me this before, what are we expecting from property tax in December on some of this?
About 350,000.
Thank you.
Well, it's about 400 and some odd thousand for the year. Typically, we get at minimum 50%, but we usually get 60 to 65% because people pay both installments in December. Okay, and then on page 15, you can see for the month, at the top, you can see Eden Valley had a net profit before their share of the administrative expenses of 131,000, which is good. The clinic, you would like to see that at least at break even, but they lost $31,000. Even though it was one of their best months, their expenditures were up and their contractual adjustments were a little higher than usual too, as I think they were trying to clean up some of these receivable balances. And then our district expenditures.
Are they aware of this? That they're losing money? Do they know
Who's they?
over there?
Clinic.
The clinic,
Staff, are you talking about?
yeah.
So we have leadership meetings on Mondays, and we do make them aware. And, I've offered Graig to participate in our leadership meetings so that they can hear it from this side as well. Making sure that we're, all, and showing that we're all on the same page. But absolutely, a lot of it has to deal with the fact that visit counts are down year over year. And so I'm still making sure each week that all of the available appointments that are available are scheduled. We still have to do a better job at that. We have improved, hence given the number, because that was my focus from our last meeting. And so they are making a conscious effort. But they're certainly aware, Rosemary. I don't like to lead and not make the team leaders aware of what's going on.
And I do plan on going, not this Monday, but the following Monday, to go and listen in.
Yeah.
So the only other comment I have regarding the normal just financial operations is that I've noticed, and this may be, I'm not aware of the policy, I think it's just discretionary, but I noticed that we're prepaying a lot of our expenses. For example, just one in particular, we have the small district association dues. They're due January 1st. We paid it in October. It was like $40,000, $30,000 or something. It's not due until January. I don't know why we're paying that one in October when we could hold on to the cash for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
So I don't know if there's a policy where we just say, okay, we have our payables, we pay everything that we can, which is okay. I mean, as a vendor, I like that. People
Yeah.
getting paid as soon as possible, but it may be something as money tightens when we have to pay that $1.2 million that we should start looking at a little closer.
Okay, good point.
Very good point, thank you, Brenda.
So that's the treasurer's report.
Okay, any questions of Brent? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
All of those.
Okay, got a motion on the floor, do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, Maggie seconds, roll call please.
Graig,
Yes.
Maggie,
Yes.
Rosemary,
Yes.
Ann, yes, and Max.
Yes.
Okay, can we, the monthly budget review, Brent?
Okay, the budget report starts on page 16. And once again, just bring your attention to the first place I would look as an accountant, and that's your gross margin. Okay? So your gross margin for 4 months, we anticipated to be at 47,000 net profit. We are at 23,521. So you say, well, it's only $24,000, $23,500 less. Okay, which, you know, in our total budget, it's a fairly small amount, but it's definitely not in the right direction. Okay? Now, when you go down to the bottom of the thing, we say we should have 47,000 in revenues and we're at a loss of 159. Well, how did we get there? Well, we got there because our property tax revenues, if we just take our property tax revenues and say we divide it by 12, we should have gotten 144,000 by October. Well, we only get it twice a year. We get it in December and April. So you take that 144,000 out, and then the other big thing is grants. You know, grants come in when they come in. We can't really say they're going to be all spread out evenly throughout the year. So that's the other reason why the bottom line looks a lot worse than our gross margin. So I would always focus on the gross margin. That's where your operations are. That's where I would compare, you know, how we're doing versus how our budget. Okay? So in total, we're about 23,000 over budget. If you go to page 17, this is Eden Valley. Our gross margin for those is 95,000 worse. We had anticipated 703,000. We're at 607 gross margin. Okay. You go to the next page, the clinic. We budgeted a $36,000 loss at this point. We're actually at 60,000 profit. So we're actually doing better than our budget for clinic. I think we were really conservative on the clinic just because we, you know, haven't been doing real well in that for the last few years, and so we were conservative. Whereas on the Eden Valley, we had such a great year that we said, okay, let's hope it just continues. and it hasn't continued at the same level. I mean, we're not that far off, but it just hasn't continued at that same level. And then on page 19, if you use that gross margin, we thought at this point we would have spent 620,000 gross margin negative, and we've spent 644, so we're 16,000 over budget there. Okay, so that's where we're at on the 3 different entities that come to that 23,000 over budget in total. But so, and overall, we're close to our budget. We're doing, I mean, for an entity this size, 23,000, as an accountant, I would say that's a success that we're that close to the budget.
And you take away the 175,000 a month.
Yeah. So, although that's built into the budget, so I'm not sure we can really say that, but it's, you know, it's all part of it's one of the factors. Okay? So, we're okay, just, you know, as that census picks up, we'll be much better.
And hopefully this is the money that go.
Yeah.
Any questions of Brent on the budget? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Brad. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
To you as well.
And Christmas.
Yes.
We are not having a meeting in
Nope,
December?
We're dark in December.
Okay, district CEO's report.
Before you start, I have a couple questions.
Sure.
I'll hand this, I can speak and speak when you're reading something, it's easier to read. One for Graig, here's a copy. It's mainly 2 pages. The back part is some other information. Rosemary, Maggie, and here's a copy for the minutes. I want to do this beginning, but I didn't get started, kind of like we did a couple
What
of
are we
days.
doing here?
I have some points to bring in.
For the treasurer's report?
No, for everybody about the district. And I'm giving you a copy, so as I'm speaking, you're like, what are you talking about? You've got something to reference.
Oh, I see, okay.
So basically, fellow board members, as we continue to progress in our mutual efforts to improve our mission and help burn our community, I propose we become better educated and contributing board members, more informed to govern to meet our mission, and I'm sure we all can agree that I recommend that we do one thing. Right now, there's no formal way to get something on the agenda, and Greg once told me, well, we just bring it up, but we're supposed to be able to add things to the agenda because we shouldn't talk about things that aren't agendized. So I hopefully in the future we'll review our bylaws and we'll come up with a formal way to do that. Second thing, we might be able to ask ACHD how other districts and boards do this, but there ought to be some kind of spending approvals for our district, an amount or et cetera, that we don't just pay bills and write checks and do things, that we actually have a process of what the board has to approve. $1,000 may be a little bit restrictive, but we don't have a policy at all. I hope all you agree that it shows good fiscal responsibility with sound checks and balances. This is not unique to any CEO. This is not about IDA. This is something that all CEOs, and I doubt any CEO would object to this policy. We're elected by the community to advise the CEO on community issues and our vision on prioritizing community needs. I recommend that on an ad hoc basis or at our next strategic planning session, we approve a community activity budget, allocating our limited resources to support community events that prioritize and determine what will actually have the most impact for our community and our district. I support activities that benefit the Latino community even. However, it's not aware or do not know what the community benefits to Soledad, the cost of who even attended the district's diamond sponsorship in September of the Century Latino Fund event. Other top diamond sponsors, and I got this here, there are 5 diamond sponsors, whatever amount that is, like Kaiser or Montage, Monterey Aquarium, Salinas Valley. Even the Natividad Foundation was only a gold sponsor. I don't know what the diamond sponsorship cost or what we got for that. That would be good information to talk about. How much was this? Who attended? And shouldn't the board oversee community attendance in support of events and memberships and their real networking value? Chronological status update of our mammography service should be outlined in writing for the board, accompanied by state and federal licensing correspondence. It's very, very unfortunate and a disservice to our community to have a mammography service down during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, sending patients out of town for their exams, and then have marketed a proclamation about our center for the city officials. As a board members, we should advocate more for our community's health and stay educated and provide support and guidance to our CEO to resolve these issues. A plan should be prepared for the board regarding how and when our mammography services will be reopened. I know several people from the community have called to make appointments last month, and they're told we can't do that right now, but we'll put you on the waiting list if you'd like. And we've been advertising we're doing this service. Lastly, major projects which have a greater chance of success when the board can assist and support the CEO collaboratively. Mobile clinic, for example, is a major project and a detailed expense. Operational summary should be prepared for the board to support before any direction or activity occurs. This is a long-term capital and operational issue requiring considerable expenses after the fact. Should we prioritize this project at this time? I think I would like to see the estimated number of patients served, capital cost, reimbursement, labor costs to assess how and when to prioritize this project. Thank you.
You got that report?
My report,
Yeah. You want to do that other report that you?
as you wish.
Yep. I think some of those issues are addressed.
All right.
Well, I'll let Ida do that, but some of this community activity support is one of these things when you support a community activity, you get it back. You support me, I support you, and I saw that for many years in business, is that you support your community events, they will support us, and that's what makes Eaton Valley prosper, is when we have the support of the community. And I think it's important to support the events within our community.
I did just have some information that I think will respond to some of Max's concerns.
Yeah, so Greg had asked me to do some footwork and some detail, and hopefully we can answer some of the questions. If not, that's okay, we can always come back. We want to give as much as information as needed for you guys, because we are a partner here. Well, it's not myself or Greg or any one of us, we're a partnership. So board member mismanagement of district resources. So one of the assumptions is that that is occurring. I want to stress that financial management, yet the district has passed 3 consecutive clean audits and are available to the public on our website. These audits would have shown any discrepancies, but there are none. Another assumption, eliminate costly regulatory fines and expenses from below average staffing levels and high turnover. Despite being a rural health facility, our total nursing staffing levels of 43.9% are better than the national average of 48.8% and in line with California average of 41.1%. Compared to our peers, registered nursing turnover of Eden Valley is 56.7%. That is better than Windsor of Monterey Care Center, for example, which is at 66.3%. and aligned with Cypress Ridge at 56.6%. CMS reporting model is based on the data transmitted from our records. In a recent audit, we found that there were several data points not transferring properly, affecting our staffing star and overall 5-star rating. In a recent report submitted November 14th, with all data points included, our overall staffing star rating will go up from a 1 to a 4. And our overall stars rating will go up from a 2 to a 3. Next, support competitive salaries for recruitment and retention of staff and physicians. I wanted to share that our baseline salary was recently increased from $16 minimum wage to $18 for all team members, new and existing. That is a $2 increase, or an equivalent to $4,160 more a year for full-time equivalencies. Over the last year, 10 employees who left Eden Valley have since returned and rehired, subsequently providing their alignment with our values and leadership, and most recently was our Director of Nursing, Myra Jenkins. Look at raises and bonuses. All raises and bonuses are budgeted and are approved by the board in the annual budget process in June. Improve local access to specialist and full-time pediatrician. We recently got a $150,000 grant from CCAH to support the hiring of a pediatrician. Our current pediatrician works 3 times a week and has a total visit count as stipulated in your guys' report of 2,736, an average of 15 patients a day, which is aligned to the equivalent of a full-time physician, which averages 20 patients a day. Walk-in schedules. The clinic has always accepted walk-ins to meet the direct needs of our community. As a matter of fact, we have every provider that has a walk-in schedule open from 8 to 9 daily. Mammography services. Mammography service continue to be performed at our Women's Center with a volume of 236 to date that we have completed. Diabetic education. As part of every visit, diabetic education is provided. It is a quality measure of CCAH, CBI, to measure A1C, which we are rated at the 90th percentile. In addition, we partnered with 2 nutritional food box programs, which provides a free, customized, medically tailored, fresh fruit and vegetable box directly to patients' doorsteps every week for 24 weeks, aimed at addressing the nutritional gaps that significantly impact the health and well-being of our vulnerable population. By participating, each patient receives a pureed box of 15 to 18 pounds grocery box designed by a registered dietitian to address a patient's chronic health condition. Have better health outcomes. Research shows that access to this nutritional meal can lead to a better outcome and enhanced quality of life. New patient-friendly service. 8-month session focusing on customer service training. I shared that with you and I'll share that with you again. Scheduling. Secondly, we now have a scheduling with a live operator between 7 and 8 p.m. every day. That's a new service. Providing support in both English and Spanish. Thirdly, auto attendants. Help answer the calls in the order they come in with an option to leave a voicemail for a return call, leaving no calls unanswered. Finally, stabilizing district finances. The leadership team in 2018 made a decision to accept PPS overpayments, resulting in a $4 million liability to the district. In August of 2024, we discontinued that overpayment of $175,000 or $2.1 million a year. Our current negative profits reflect the change of no PPS overpayment, which is expected to be stabilized at the end of the year.
Would you address the issue of the Siempre Latinos?
Yes.
That was another, it was,
So Siempre Latinos Fund, as alluded in the comments from Max, is a $3,000 diamond sponsorship, of which is budgeted in our budget. That is supported by not only the board, which includes Jose Arreola, our assistant to the city manager of the city of Salinas, director of community alliance and safety. That includes Luis Diaz Infante, director of public relations and community engagement. It includes Alexis Garcia Arreola, community city council of Seaside. It includes Elsa Mendoza Jimenez, the director of health services and public administrator, conservator, and guardian of the Monterey County. It includes Lorraine Iglesias, who is formerly the director of multicultural and inclusive marketing at the aquarium. It includes Marta Cerate, community member at large, here from Soledad. In addition to that, if you guys recall, last year, $110,000 was given to us by the Community Foundation of Monterey County. This is an affiliate fund of Siempre Latinos under that affiliate fund. The person who was recognized in that was Dr. Magana, who is one of Chomp's leading doctors, who is in line with what we do here at the clinic and at the district. He was the one that was celebrated. And what was already mentioned is that we were gathered as part of a coalition of other healthcare providers within our community. So this is exactly the kind of event that we want to participate and be a part of, because it exemplifies the good work that we're doing here, and it supports those that are doing the same work that we are in helping our community stay healthy and strong. So those are a couple of things that I have.
so the connection with Siempre Latino was instrumental in us getting $120,000 last year.
Good.
You know, the last thing, and I'm glad Max brought that up, is mobile clinic. The mobile clinic, as far as I know, Max, is not a go. We asked Ida to do a report on what's the cost-benefit ratio of that. She's not been able to do that because she's been responding to public records requests that have been taking a humongous amount of time. And maybe Ida wants to talk about that.
So we have one, and I shared this, and I know you were not here last meeting, Max, you were absent, but we did have two public records requests, one in which they wanted us to identify invoices and bills that we have paid. Here's one of the things that we also need to think about, is we are a medical agency, which means is that some of the people we pay are our patients. So in order to get that completed, we literally have to go line item by line item to eliminate them for HIPAA protection. If we were to violate a HIPAA protection and leave one name on the list that we just, didn't catch, that's a $10,000 violation. So this is a practice that it's not easy. This was a practice that took me 24 days to complete. It took my time, my accounts payable time, our attorney time, and it took 3 sets of eyes. My accounts payable looked at it, I looked at it and my attorney looked at it to get the final product out. So it is very time-consuming getting these type of requests because it takes me away from focusing on what we talked about earlier with Brent, getting up the census at Eden Valley, getting up the visit count at the clinic, and other things that we need to prioritize. One of the other things I want to remind you guys of that is, remember back in March, I gave you guys this document which included an accounts payable workflow 7-point system, level of review. And this encompasses every level of review that every invoice goes through here. So first level review, the invoice is received by accounts payable. That document is then uploaded into DocLink software. It's reviewed for accuracy, reviewed against the department budget, and then it's sent to the department manager for approval. Second level review,
So how are they presented to you?
through the DocLink, through the electronic system. The second level review, it goes to the department managers such as,
Susan?
not Susan, like our kitchen, our activities, our, the different departments, who reviews the invoice for accuracy, confers with the department budget, approves or denies, and then forwards to administrator for clinic or manager approval. Then the administrator, Susan, and/or the clinic manager, Veronica, reviews the invoice for accuracy, confers with the department budget, approves or denies, and forwards it to CEO for final review. I review it, review invoices for accuracy, confers with the department budget, approves or denies, and then we forward it to AP for processing for payment and CPA review. There is a 5th level review with the accounts payable coordinator, which we review the aging. And when we review that aging report, we do that twice a month on the 10th and the 25th. We look at any invoices including current, 30 days, 60, 90, and 120 days. We focus on all those payments to be current to 90 days.
Which brings up, if I interrupt you, what Brett brings up about some of these invoices are getting paid too
Early,
soon.
yeah, in which I can work on that. I have not, having looked in the whole picture, I don't know what that's about, so I have to do a little bit of research. But then we have a 6th level review, which is our board president. So any items that are $25,000 or more, he's reviewing them and signing off on them. Now, if you guys want me to, as a board in general, and that's the will of the board, and we can reduce the amount, Greg can certainly review those. But I don't want to give a false impression or false narrative that it's just getting overlooked. That is not the case. There's many layers of being looked at. The final layer is with our CPA, who compiles the final review to apply it to our monthly financial statement. So I wanted to remind you guys, I did this back in March, because the question had been brought up then. I refreshed it again in November, so that you guys can see that there is an embedded process of going through and looking at all of our invoices and expenses, making sure that they're accurate and current, and are in line with our budgets.
Any questions on that? Okay.
Just going back to this letter that we did on the mammography center, we addressed that, didn't we, about the group having a technician, and we're on, somebody in-house is getting trained to do that, right?
So we no longer have that.
And this, if I'm right, the individuals are hard to find to do
yeah.
that. It's,
So we have to be realistic. We are a rural health clinic. We are a rural facility. And I was talking to another provider, all hospitals, all healthcare facilities go through this pain. And we don't easily find people to fill these seats. And it takes us time and it takes energy. And hence, back to Max's point, we, at that moment, did not have somebody in place that can do that.
so hard to find.
So what do? Is you can't perform. That's not the goal, and that's not what we want to do. But It would be a difference if we're ignoring the situation and sitting on our hands and doing nothing about it. But that's just the opposite. There's listings in our website.
Sorry. And then I also wanted to be very, very intentional of not advertising mammography, especially during Breast Cancer Awareness Month, if we didn't have that service. So I don't know where it was advertised, but it wasn't through me. It didn't.
We got a
have
proclamation from the city of Soledad on our Women's Health Center, and part of the mammography was advertised. And it was even advertising some political campaigns that we have these services, that we're doing this stuff for the women. And we don't. We haven't done it for a while, and we're not even licensed to do it right now, you told us. You told us we don't even have the proper licensing to do mammography, plus you didn't have it.
We have the licensees,
As
we're
of
doing
when?
mammography. Since the last, you weren't here at the last board meeting, so since then, it's all been resolved.
Okay.
And we have done exams.
And to back it up a little bit, if my memory serves me correctly, the whole idea of the mammography center was somebody generously made a huge donation to the district, right? And it was earmarked for mammography. And if we didn't do something with that, we lost it, right? And I think this was before Ida's time. And she steps in, and I'm not gonna mention names, but they jumped the gun. They just thought, okay, we can get a mammography machine and we can start doing these things. And didn't really look into the fact of how hard it is to find a technician, the licensing and all of that. And so it's kind of like catch-up time to,
So one thing I have to say, you guys, I can't guarantee services are gonna be 100% every single time.
on that.
That's unrealistic.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, let's be
And
realistic.
it is unfortunate. but
People
it-
come and go. I can't prevent from people going. We just lost a nurse practitioner next door, as you guys know. People come and go. I can't keep them in their seats. But what I have to be is proactive to replace and replenish, which we have. So that's the difference here. The services are here. We will provide them as they are available. That hasn't gone away. Just because we don't have a technician didn't mean the services went away. It just is a temporary pause until we can find somebody who can adequately do that. So
Weren't you training somebody in-house, or wasn't somebody in-house interested in doing that?
she moved on to another position.
No, she did.
Yeah, she wants to work at hospitals.
Um,
Yeah.
And I think,
It's hard, you know.
and I think one of the things that we're all going to have to look at is how do we want Ida and our staff to spend their time? Because it's like this public records request. We can't, when there's public records requests, we have to respond. But look at the time it took.
Because
So we're
then
going,
you can't do all these other reports that
so-
are needed.
and there is another, help me remember, there's another report that you now have to do that's a new one. You told me about, that you think you can just generate a normal,
It's a public records request?
No,
you know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
I'm sorry. But anyway, there are things we have to do anyway. But we're going to have to strategically, as a board, decide how we're going to utilize staff time to accomplish things. Like, I would like to, I know I've been trying to look into this, is if we get FQHC status. Because if we can get that, we'll get more money per patient. But she hasn't been able to spend time to work on that. And though she's had contacts, but we're not able to spend time doing that because we're meeting other things that are being addressed. So we're going to have to decide as a board, what are the priorities? Because each one of us may have a priority.
I mean, remember, there's 5 of you guys, and there's 5 different requests.
Is what?
There's 5 different requests that may come at me throughout the month.
Well, it
And
has to be
and
a
I
board
try.
consensus.
Exactly, so.
I thought we discussed that already, a couple meetings
So
ago.
I just want to make sure that you guys are giving me the right direction. So here we get this letter, you know, this email from Max, and it's great, right? But then I need to understand, okay, where do you want me to devote my time in? What is it you want me to focus on? Because then I drive my team leaders to help and support that need. So I just need to know the will of the board and where do you want me to go?
I
Because
thought we agreed on this a couple of months ago, that it would be a board consensus before we,
Yeah, I thought so too.
I thought we
It
just.
is.
So then why did you send the email request and all that stuff?
I asked some questions. Now the board needs to say what you want to know. If you say you don't want to hear any of it, then 4.1 says quit asking questions. I put it to the board. This is to the board.
Oh, you're putting this to the board?
To the board.
But what about this email that she
This,
sent?
that's all it is this letter right here. I didn't send any other email.
I didn't get any, this is the first time I've seen it, so, yeah, I haven't.
This-
That's the email she's talking about.
Yeah,
But I just handed out.
the response was some of the things that I'd heard during the campaign that I wanted Ida to be able to address. Because there were things that were said in the community, I wanted her to be able to address it to the board.
That were relative to what's on this sheet.
Yeah,
I'm confused.
okay,
I'm confused because I thought it was gonna be a board
okay,
consensus before we asked the CEO to do all this other stuff.
yeah. So, let's,
Okay, now, where is this on the agenda for today?
It's not.
It's not.
But neither was the redress of me 2 months ago, because we don't have a process to put things on the agenda. Our agendas are written loosely enough, we can talk about anything we need to talk about. That's exactly what Greg told me.
Yep,
So I brought it up.
that's exactly what I told you, you're absolutely correct.
So I thought this was the right time to bring it up before she got in her report.
And that's correct.
And that's why I brought it up.
Gotcha.
And now we've talked about it.
So let's get, there are some things that, okay.
I haven't done my own report. so-
Okay, go ahead.
No, go, I'm sorry, but
I know that Ida's working on revising the bylaws. So if there are some specific things that you would like to see addressed, maybe they can be discussed at the next meeting, so you have time to think about it and actually review the bylaws, okay?
I think there are a few things that need to be added to the bylaw.
I think so too.
Not a problem, but I know that that's one of the items that Ida has seen the need to do, but has not been able because of other issues.
Other requests, yeah.
Time constraints.
Okay, now, some of these I think have been addressed. So my question to you is, there are some things that are out there that I want to know whether or not there's board consensus of how you want to spend your time. One of them would be pursuing FQHC, because that would, Federal Qualified Healthcare Center. That would increase, that's what clinic is. They get more money per patient visit than we do because they're an FQHC. So, is that something you would like Ida to spend some time trying to see if we can get that certification so we can increase our income?
Makes sense?
Okay, so do you want to make that a consensus or you don't want to make a motion? Is that consensus, so Ida knows the direction?
That should be consensus. We don't want to make a motion.
Okay, then that's fine. We get a consensus on that?
It's a consensus,
yeah.
Okay, one of the things you charged, when I say you, us, I'm sorry about that. We charged her with some time ago was to come up with a study, if you will, cost-benefit ratio of whether it's worth it to go for a mobile clinic. Max raise that again. Is that something you want her to do?
Yeah, these are all things that, but when she gets bogged down with all
But see,
these other.
Yeah, that's what we got to make sure that if there's something that's coming from someone else, whether we want her to spend time on these things, unless it's a public records request.
Okay.
Well, that's kind of the point. The mobile clinic is a cool thing, but it's a cool thing. And right now, we're barely keeping our clinic afloat. And I know, and I heard some comments from Supervisor Lopez, and you mentioned he was supporting, but he said at another time that, you know, this is a community service thing, but it's not a moneymaker, or at least it doesn't appear to be a moneymaker. So how can we spend our time putting into this thing that's going to be another money drain when we're still trying to get our finances straight?
And that's what we need to find out.
And well, we know it's not going to happen for $150,000.
but we charged her, and I'm asking, do you want her to continue to do that cost benefit ratio?
I think right now, wasting time on a mobile health clinic would not be the best use of our time.
Okay,
Down the road, it might be a good project, but right now, we're not ready for it.
anyone
But
else?
how can we make that statement without looking at a financial report of the
Well, it
revenue
takes,
generated?
it takes a lot of information to generate that,
Yeah.
but I know that
I'm just
there's
asking.
proposals out there from other places, and it's like 1.6 to 2.5 million dollars to put together those mobile centers, and we're talking about doing it for $150,000. And I don't think $150,000 would be close to covering it, and we're already bleeding money as we're trying to fix ourselves, and that's a good service thing, but it's not a money maker, in my opinion.
Yeah,
That's why I say-
but I don't know.
That's your opinion,
Well,
but is your opinion based on a financial report?
Well, my opinion is we can't do anything until we have a detailed financial report,
Right.
and that's gonna take a lot of time. And so therefore, I say it's not as important as some of these other things we're working on right now.
Gotcha.
Understood. How much time do you think it would take to do that as a ballpark?
Business plan?
Mm-hmm. Long time. Okay. So any other thoughts on that?
I agree with Max.
Okay, we'll put that on the back burner, okay? So we have consensus on that. Okay, I have two projects that I have been, and you've been all aware of it. 2018, we don't have a plan to interface with emergency response for an incident happening on this campus.
What was that? With what?
An incident happening on this
Oh,
campus.
incident, okay.
So, because we're going to have
Are you talking like an active shooter? or something?
active shooter, a fire, if we have to evacuate this place, the first responders aren't going to do that. The staff is going to have to do that. And we're going to have to organize and interface with that emergency response team. We have to get that figured out. There has been work done on that. Is that something you think should be completed?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Is that consensus?
Yes.
That should jump to the top of the list.
Well, then there's another project that has been 3 years in the project, you've all been aware of it, and that is a community, our part in the community disaster response. We're a government agency. If crap happens, the public is going to expect that we respond. And if we respond effectively with the other emergency responders, whether it's a flood, a fire, an active shooter at the campus, those things. That has been a 3-year project.
I thought we were working on that with the police.
Yeah, but we haven't done anything
It's
because
stalled.
it's stalled, because we're doing other things.
With requests.
Yeah, all these kinds of things. So is that a priority? If it's not, okay. But
Let's finish these things. You know, we've started them 3 years ago, let's finish them.
is that consensus?
Yes.
Okay, now, is there any project that you're aware of that you want to see consensus on before as we move forward?
Not that I can think of right now, Greg. I mean,
Okay,
I have so many,
yeah, so
I have
we'll-
so many things going
So what
on,
we'll
I'm
do-
sorry, I
what we'll do
don't
then,
have a
as
list to provide.
time comes,
Yeah, we
and
can-
Ida can say, this is something that's come up. How much time do you want us to spend on that? Is that acceptable? Pardon?
I said, I'm like, oh wow, this is like managing time.
And it is, and you've got a short staff. Okay, are we okay with that? So as Ida comes up and says, here's a project, do you want us to spend time on this? Is that acceptable?
Well, how do you feel about this, Ida? Because this is ultimately falls on you.
You know, I appreciate it because it's a sense of direction.
Okay.
So that is appreciated. On the other hand, it is a challenge when I'm being spread to deal with certain things. And you guys got to understand these types of organizations, especially in health, and Susan and I are putting out fires every single day. If you're in our environment, there is a fire to put out every single day. And those situations, we have to drop whatever's on the list and focus on that. And some days it takes us a day. Other times it takes us a week, 2 weeks to get through that process. So it's definitely a challenge to prioritize. And remember, I'm one individual who's carrying the weight of 3 individuals, your CFO, your CEO, and your chief operating officer. We don't have that here. And those all, and I don't even have a project person who used to assist. So Sophie's been my backup project person. So hints back to Max's point is, why isn't this getting done? Why is this falling behind? Why is this? It's because it's numero uno, and the little team that I have, and I don't have any other support that we used to have.
There's
So
none of this stuff that your aid admin staff can do some of this and help you with that?
I don't have an aid management staff. I have Sophie, and she's a board secretary. And
I'm talking about all your HR and your account, they can't help you, any of that stuff, all those staff in the district office?
there is not a lot of staff. There's 3 people. There's 1 HR, 1 payroll for the whole company, and there's myself.
Ah, look at the list.
And then there's
I saw
one
a list of
assistant.
8.
There's 1 assistant to the HR. And there's accounts payable. That's it. And communications coordinator. So, I mean, if you're talking about our maintenance person, they're included in that part. So I don't know.
I think it'd just be simple is, you've got the list, and then you just say, every month, give us an update on how we're doing to complete the list.
And we have to understand that crap happens during the week, and she's gonna have to address those things, and these will have to be put on the back burner for a while. But as long as we're agreed, that we would like to make priorities we're making progress on, then she can prioritize the time when she's not putting up brush
Driver's
first.
request is just a log down.
And remember, we still have a strategic plan that I'm following.
Yeah,
And I'll report on in the next meeting. Greg's asked me to give you guys an update. And that's really my driver of, where I'm heading. So this is in addition to what we put in that strategic plan. So you guys also have to be made aware that we can throw everything in the handbasket, but the reality is, what do you want done and what prioritize? I think that the strategic plan is what sets the priority, and that's why we do it, right?
yeah, and so, and it's a living document, so when we do this review in January, it's a time to look at, say, look at these other 3 things, where do they line up with the other priorities? And I think it's a living document, it changes, as if we had another epidemic break out, that would change our priorities. So
just back to Max's point, that he was trying to make about my staff, everybody's working at all cylinders. So please don't get the impression that our staff and our team are not anywhere near to the full capacity. They're beyond full capacity. They're at the brim. So please know that.
I never thought that.
The people that are here are working hard, diligently, efficiently, every single day. So with
They're
Max's
busy
point,
8
don't
hours
get
a
the
day.
false impression, oh, you have, I think, what did you say, 8 people? You have 8 people. Yeah, but those 8 people are doing the job at times of 2 to 3 other people. In a small environment, we don't have a choice because that's what we have to do to get the job done. And Sophie's one of the vouchers. She puts on many hats throughout her day. So that's one of the evidences of that. I wish I could easily say, oh, this is handed off to you and it'll be taken care of and voila, it's done. And it doesn't work that way in a working environment. It does. We all have priorities that we have to do.
They're
So-
already working 8 hours a day, and nobody's
Plus.
sitting idle.
No.
That's
Never.
basically what it is, so nobody's sitting idle, and then you
No.
just come to take off.
So I don't want to give that false impression of my staff. That is a disservice to them and a dishonor to all the hard work and dedication that they've done.
Yeah, I agree.
okay, I'm sorry I interrupted your report.
All right, dear board, happy Thanksgiving. In front of you is a gift of appreciation for your dedication, commitment, and leadership. I want to thank Sophie for helping put these lovely turkeys together. Thanksgiving, so each staff, and I cut it and then I started chatting away, whatever. Received an envelope It's somewhere in here, you guys. I lost it in the mix of my stuff. Received an envelope to keep up with tradition of a free turkey for all staff. We provided each staff member a $25 gift certificate for Grocery Alley to purchase their Thanksgiving meal. Grocery Alley has a deal: when you purchase 35 or more, you will get a turkey for $3.99. Resident staff community photo with Santa. Adriana's already mentioned. Please come and join us. That is Friday, December the 6th from 4 to 6 p.m. at Eden Valley Fireside. Each guest will get a printed photo with Santa, a cup of hot chocolate. I met the principal of Pinnacle High School at Rotary. He is working with Adriana to bring 20 of his students to take pictures with Santa. End of year appreciation luncheon. That is also in your packet. I would appreciate your presence on December 20th from 3 to 6 p.m. in the HR office parking lot. Festive gathering filled with food, fun, and fantastic prizes for all. And as Rosemary said, it was a great event last year, right, Rosemary?
It certainly was, it certainly was.
Community flu vaccine clinic. So I gave you guys that packet. We're once again hosting it. We received over 1,500 flu vaccines. We hosted 2 flu clinics with the plan to hold this third one November 30th from 8 to 2 p.m. on a Saturday. Walk-ins are welcome. The first flu clinic was Friday, September 27th. We did 61 vaccines. The second is Saturday, October 5th. We did 70 vaccines. In the front picture, you've seen my picture with Senator Ana Caballero, her farewell celebration. On November the 8th, I attended her celebration for her and presented her with a certificate of appreciation. For more,
Is she retired?
so I'm reading, for more than 30 years, Senator Ana Caballero has represented the Salinas Valley and San Benito. However, due to restricting process that was completed in December 2021, the Salinas Valley and San Benito will no longer be included in her district.
Oh, I heard her speak on the radio today as I was driving to the doctor. She's in Fresno.
Yep, that's where she's now, she's doing her work out of Fresno now.
Yes, I didn't realize that was going to be her district, but yeah.
Oh, I found envelopes, so this is what our staff received. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Oh, City of Soledad, on November 6th, Greg and I attended the City Council meeting to receive a proclamation for National Alzheimer's Disease Awareness Month. Thank you, Greg, for attending that. Let's see, Leadership Academy. We continue to provide the Leadership Academy. The first of 8 sessions was in September. Again, focusing on customer service. During each module, staff learns the tools, tips, and techniques that contribute to the success and interactions with clients, ensuring effective customer service. The last meeting they had was managing conflict. The next meeting they're having next month, or this month is focused on patient privacy and confidentiality. Let's see. Finance. Okay. So speaking of the many things that I have to accomplish, one of them is we are in renewal of insurance renewals, and just to give you a small perspective, on my plate right now is I have to do nearly 10 different renewals that I need to get accomplished.
It's a pain.
And it's a pain.
For everybody.
You said it, Rosemary, and I have a small time frame to get that done before January. So although we go dark and we don't have a meeting, we're very busy doing end of the year stuff. Our computer upgrades continue. We continue to upgrade our computers. That we had nearly 40 computers. We're almost more than halfway there. We try to do computers that are 5 to 10 years of age, and we replace about 5 each quarter. What else? Susan will probably speak to this in her Eden Valley report, but we did have 2 folks that have passed since we've last met. And then the CMS star rating, I did already share that with you guys, of the audit and the upgrade in the CMS star rating. We had new We had anniversaries at Eden Valley. One was for Paulino Navarro, our Director of Rehabilitation, 1 year. Cynthia Sanchez, our Administrative Assistant of 1 year. Adriana Gonzalez, our Communication Coordinator of 1 year. And Blanca Reyes, Laundry Department of 5 years. What else? Clinic. We had Employee of the Month, Imelda D. Jesus Gonzalez, 1 year. We had a new PA that has started in the clinic in November, early November. I've already shared with you guys, we initiated the live operator scheduling with the live operator between 7 to 8 p.m. local time, providing support in both English and Spanish. We now have auto attendant, which answers calls in the order they come in, with an option to leave a voicemail for return call, leaving no calls unanswered as well. Other partnership meetings that I went, Economic Development Committee meeting for the county. They indicated that the SBDC now has a local satellite office open here in Soledad to offer small business support and loan guidance. I had an interview with a student from the high school. Her name was Aubrey. She interviewed me as part of her economics class. She needed to interview a CEO in healthcare. Let's see, Community Foundation, I still continue and involved in Siembra Latinos as a chair. I also attended the school board meeting to present on as a chair of the bond committee. I am also the vice chair of the Association of California Healthcare Districts this year. With the following year will be the president. Today we had Rotary at Eden Valley. They came and had lunch with all of our residents. It was so nice, you guys. Our residents got all dolled up. They got their hair made. They got dressed up. And they had wine glasses. Didn't have wine, obviously, but it had apple juice and water. Very well attended. That was today. So thank you as always for your support and leadership. Happy Thanksgiving and warm regards from myself. And I'll let Susan go on and do her report.
Before you go, on your Eden Valley update, you had the CMS star rating.
I did. So in essence, it's a report you can go online. And what I have to say is whatever's in that report is whatever is coming out of our database. But what we found in our audit, and Max has alluded to this before, is that our nursing overturn was happening. The reality is that it wasn't. The reality was that the information that we submitted was inaccurate. So we did an audit for 39 days, and out of the 39 days we found only 6 of those. And so the November audit, that's why the staffing ratio went up significantly, was because the data wasn't feeding in and we didn't realize it until it was being brought up in public, stating that we have this, and it didn't mesh with our numbers. Like, that data did not mesh anything with our numbers, and that was the reason why. So you guys will start seeing the, so CMS only gets published on a quarterly basis. So this got published, so just so that you guys know, I do have one more thing before I go, after Susan. But, so CMS gets published, and just be aware of this, because it doesn't, here it is. Susan probably knows this better than I do, but,
We don't go on a normal 4 quarters on a fiscal calendar. Their dates are really...
They're awkward, huh?
Yeah.
That's why I have to look them up. Okay, for example, this November 14th report covers the period of July 1st to September 30th.
I know.
And it gets published in January.
Oh, so this won't get published until January.
Yeah, but you see, it's not relative to today. That's why it was so, like, it didn't make sense. The numbers didn't make sense. It's relative to September of 2024.
Right, so it's 2 months ago. But the other thing is, I think it's going to help because we now have a director of nurses that we're not going to have the turnover like we used to.
Yeah,
We're
she's
not going to
on.
have the traveling director of nurses, if I understood that, and that's gonna make a
It'll bring continuity.
difference. Yeah.
One of the other things that we've done, and I neglected to mention, and Susan can vouch for it, is, and Greg was in the, Greg happened to be in the office at the time when we were having this discussion with our CNAs. We completely revamped their schedule. So the CNA population is one of our largest populations, and the department has been led, it was led by a long-term employee who left, and then it was led by a couple of others. And most recently, we have continuity, we have a long-term employee there, but the scheduling was based on what they were utilizing in the past. And what we found is that there was no continuity, which means is that it didn't allow for a person to be there for a specific period of time. So we completely revamped it, and now it's a Monday through Friday schedule. So everybody works Monday through Friday, and then we hired weekend staff. And Greg, maybe you can share a little bit what
And
they
if
said.
I'm scheduled for a 5-day schedule, but I want to pick up a weekend because I want to do extra, they're able to do that. And there's a program, so it says, there's an opening, say, from Monday 8 to 4. And I want to work that Monday through Friday. So I plug in and I say, that's my schedule. But there may be 3 people that they need at that time. It'll stay open. Then the second person says, I want to work that set shift.
But then do you have adequate staff?
We are at this point enough, because of our census being low, we have plenty. There are 2 open positions for CNAs in our PM shift, and we are kind of filling in as much as we can. And I know that there are 2 in orientation, so that could be the ones that are filling the 2 PM spots.
Which brings up another thing, as far as the union goes, update with that, do you have to get all this approved with them, or how are we settled?
Oh, yeah.
No, it's still, so she comes in once a month. We have a good working relationship with them. We have met with them on our own. And ultimately, their goal is to kind of keep a positive work environment for the team. So they have a process that they go through, and it takes some time. So
That's all working okay so far?
yeah, I mean,
And the staff was very happy with this change in schedule, so they had control of their own lives.
yes,
So
and that's
they
what they
were
shared.
very happy with
Was
this.
that a union suggestion?
No, we did that on our
We
own.
did that.
But what were they doing before?
So they would just, it was a really open schedule, and sometimes it would be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then you get 2 days off, and it just was random. And what ended up happening is that the people, because they weren't slotted in a specific period of time, we had too many people in AM as compared to PM, as compared to not. Now everybody's evenly spread out, Rosemary. Everyone has a set schedule. It just is more predictable. But think of the resident. The resident has a constant,
They have consistency of care by a person
yeah.
instead of 2 or 3 during the course of the week. So that consistency, I think, is absolutely super.
Yeah.
is.
So far, I mean, it goes into effect December the 1st, but so far, we have gotten so much positive feedback. Yeah.
Employees.
They like the consistency. So good stuff is happening. That took a while.
Yeah,
That project.
That was
you-
HR.
You talk about projects not being on the list, that's a project that
that took a long time.
And
That
that
was
took a lot
HR.
of resources of HR to get that and creating it and automating it onto our systems.
And I see that there's a lot of projects like that that we may not be aware of that are taking staff time and energy. So that's why I think we're going to have to be very strategic about how we ask staff to deal with the issues that we think are of consequence. That's it.
I will turn it back to you, Susan.
All right, good evening, everyone. This is the report for our month of October. And so first off is our census and occupancy. All around, we did experience a dip in regards to our occupancy and admissions. Normally, our average is 48. In October, we had an average of 45. Our occupancy also dipped at 76%. when our average is 82. We did have 14 admissions and 14 discharges, so we kind of evened out there. In regards to the skilled mix in regards to payer sources, our Medicare is 8 when our average is about 11. Our Medi-Cal actually went up by 1, so it's 33 versus 32 average. Our HMOs dipped. We have 3 in October and our average is 4. And then no private pays because our 1 private pay had expired. In regards to the referral sources, again, we're still getting a lot of strong admissions and referrals from our hospital sources. Salinas gave us 8 referrals, Natividad gave us 4, and Stanford, that far out, went to 1. Kind of going back with referral sources, Erica, our admissions coordinator, and myself are looking at alternative referral sources. There's lots of opportunities out there that we need to tap into. With my admission experience, we're looking at pharmacies, reaching out to pharmacies. Lots of our people who have conditions are going to pharmacies. So we're trying to see if we're allowed to do ads there. And I'm also reaching out to our churches, different congregations. When they need assistance in faith, they may also need assistance in health. So we're looking at different alternatives. And because this is such a beautiful community and a center, we can look at orthopedics, cosmetic, to have them come here for their post-care. So we're looking at different avenues in regards to referral sources, not just relying only on the hospitals to bring those opportunities to us. For our wait list, we still have 1. And then for our CDPH and regulatory affairs, keeping strong, 0 deficiencies in all of our cases. We did have 3 self-reports, which is our facility doing the right thing and reporting it to the state. And so there were 3 incidents in October. We did have 1 COVID outbreak, but again, 0 deficiencies in regards to our policy and what we've been doing to mitigate. Next, the operations. Again, we are at CMS 2-star rating. However, with all of the updates that we're going to be putting into the CMS portal, we'll definitely see our star ratings go up. And what we really want to do is get to that 5-star as much as possible, because your payers will pay more based upon your star rating. So if you're 5-star, Medicare will pay you like $700-800 versus what they're paying you now, which is maybe $600. So our focus and priority really want to make sure that we get to that 5-star as soon as possible. The only one we can't control is when the annual survey comes in. But all the other factors can be changed as quick as a quarter. But it takes time in regards to delays in getting all of that information inputted and updated.
So I know she said that really quickly. If we don't have a survey, that full 5-star won't happen until we have a survey. So just keep that in mind, okay?
Who does the survey?
CMS, the federals.
Well, when did they come in on or not?
They're supposed to come in every year,
Every
right?
year.
And they haven't come in for how many years?
Right now, we're in lag of 2 years, almost 2 years behind. So there's only 2 other facilities in our community that still have not received their annual surveys. We are one of them, and I can't remember the other one because our pharmacist rep, she kind of gives me the updates on what's happening out there because she talks to everybody out in the community. So she said everyone's gotten surveyed, and the last time they were just down at King City Hospital, and yet they didn't come over here. So it was really odd that they just skipped us altogether. But we're ready. I think our team is phenomenal. It shows in regards to what we have been doing with our stop reports. And when it comes back to 0 deficiencies, that tells you a lot about our staff doing the right thing, doing the documentation, proper training. So we're doing really good in that aspect. In regards to our different committees, we did have a QAPI committee, and everything has been 100% compliant. We are looking at all those deficiencies that were from the previous annual survey that came in, and we're knocking them out, closing them left and right. We only have a few that are not consistent, and if it ever falls below a 95% compliance, we keep that until we correct it, until we get it right. And so our expectation is to be at 100% on all of our plan of corrections. Safety, there were no reported injuries for the safety committee. Our pharmacist committee has a 100% compliance. And our fall prevention, we did go up, but again, we have a lot of acuity residents here, so it's nothing out of the ordinary. And also, our pharmacist has said that that's almost kind of like the average for all the other communities. But our goal is to be 3 or less. So, not compared to anybody else, we have to figure out what we need to do continually to improve those falls. But our committees continue to manage the fall program. We use our Falling Star. We do clinical assessments pre, post, and during their stay here, and then also pharmacy interventions. In regards to other activities that we've been doing, we have been doing a lot more marketing outside, such as reaching out to pharmacies in King, Greenfield, Soledad, and Salinas. We're reaching out to different churches of faith, and plastic surgeons, orthopedics, and general practice. There may be a dip in December. This is just what I see over the years in trending. Summer, everyone goes on vacation, and in the winter and fall season, they usually are planning holidays. So they're either going more on vacations, and doctors don't want to do surgeries during that time frame. So we anticipate that, but continuing to stay strong because people still need certain health care for whatever reason it is, and hopefully we'll stay providing that care for them. Okay. Any questions?
Go ahead. Oh, I have a comment.
Yes.
One of our patients who's been here quite a while, several years, happens to be Catholic, and so I knew her, and so I went to her services, and 2 people from here were also at her services. And I think you have to do that. You just have to do that because people notice, and that reflects positively on the place too. And so it was good to see 2 people from the staff at her services.
Yes.
What's the census up today?
Right now it's 44.
44, okay.
Yeah.
And then you said we had 3 incidences that we saw. What were those things?
The 3 self-reports for October, let's see here. One was a fall with injury, one was our COVID outbreak, and then another fall with fracture and injury.
Fracture?
Yes. Anytime there's severe injuries, we have to report
Of course,
those.
yeah, okay. And
Those were the 3 for October.
Yeah. And then physical therapy. How's that going?
Oh, phenomenal. They are such a great team. We get so many great feedback from our residents and their families, and everyone thinks Paul walks on water. But they are. I see them out on the floor. I'm seeing them doing lots of interventions and preventions and helping, looking at assessments if there's any changes of condition. So they're very, very good.
Did the speech guy come?
I don't know. We have to figure
next.
that out.
Yeah, we are in talks with them. They it was actually a woman who took a position at a school, as a matter of fact. So we'll see. We're hoping that we can at least get her here a few days out of the week. But again, those are the positions that are very difficult to fill.
Yeah, they are.
Very
That's what
difficult.
I can say that.
It's good to share because you don't meet them every single day.
No.
I can say that, with speech, even in San Diego, when I was practicing there, and as the population that we have in San Diego is like in the millions, it was still very hard for my facility to find a speech therapist. Yeah.
Very good.
All right, thank
you.
you, and happy holidays to everybody.
Happy holidays to
Thank
you.
you.
You do have everything.
Yeah, I do have one more thing. I just want to make sure I get what's the will of the board. So we do have the board member swearing in and candidate. We normally, it's been tradition that we save that for a January meeting. So I did reach out to our attorney just to get some guidance. And she says, while board members can't be sworn in any sooner than the 12th noon on the first Friday in December, many times the official results aren't in yet, and so they are extended, which is true. I think the last time, and Max can remember, I think we had to go in like 2 or 3 weeks into December.
Supposed to be final by the 3rd.
Well, they're
Well, that's
terrible.
what they-
Monterey County has been
Yeah, that's what they say, but by the time we get our certification so that we can do, that's still another week or two. So if there is no business in December, then she's telling us we don't have to swear them in until, we can wait to swear them into our January meeting. So can I get a direction? Is it, do we just wait to our traditional January meeting, or do we have to do something in December? What do you guys want?
I think January is fine.
Okay.
This means Maggie's last meeting is today.
Yes, thank you for
Thank you so much,
everything.
Maggie.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure working with alongside all the board members.
Yeah.
It's been a busy year,
Thank you,
but
Maggie.
it's, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Yes.
Okay, that's all I have, and then we